And we've been spending the last couple of weeks on Chassin Kadosh. Chassin Kadosh, the fifth stanza, which we spoke a lot 2 weeks ago. We spoke about the connection between the fifth stanza and the midah of Hoid, and the connection between what Hoid has to do with the concept of Hoda'ah. Right, we spent a lot of time on that. Why did Leah then say Hapam Oide es Hashem Dafka when Yehuda was born? If you remember, Yehuda is connected to David HaMelech. David is the regular Revi'i on the Merkava, just very quickly, right? And Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, we learned, is just an R that comes down from a Kadosh Baruch Hu that doesn't come into the sod of a Mekabel. It just flows right through. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes are there in order to transmit the R that reaches them from the higher Madregas down to what's being Mekabel next. It doesn't settle. Only the regular Revi'i of the Merkava, which, if you take a look at the lengthy note in between Shar Aleph and Shar Beis and Nefesh HaChaim, written by Rav Chaim Voloshiner's son, I believe, Rav Itzla Volosiner, if I'm not mistaken. Very lengthy, long, beautiful, incredible essay, where he speaks over there about the four elements, and he connects these four elements to the four letters of Yud, K, Vav, K, the first three being Eish, Ruach, Mayim, Aram, or different Rashi Tevis for them, Amash. And these three are active. Fire, water, air, they're dynamic, they're chashuv, they're in and of themselves, they contribute something. What's the fourth? The fourth is Afar. Afar is nothing. Afar mana de kulu. It's just the Mekabel of the rest of them, right? And that's the aspect of David HaMelech, without getting back into the whole thing that we already did 2 weeks ago. But ultimately, Yehuda is a bechina, is an aspect of David HaMelech, and that's why Leah is saying Hapam Oide es Hashem, because Hoid, we said, is the final true Mekabel of all the midas, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, all dynamic moving parts. Netzach is still, it's contributing something, and then it really all settles into what's that? David HaMelech, maybe in one bechina, in one aspect, but generally speaking, David HaMelech is connected to Afar. For example, the pasuk where David HaMelech himself says, "Even ma'asu habaynim," right? Haisel Resh Pina is talking about himself. He's the bechina of an Evan, right? Just the lowliest madrega. There's also David HaMelech is fire. David HaMelech is the heart. David HaMelech is a million things. But generally speaking, in Pnimius HaTorah, David is connected to the midah of Afar, right?
It's so funny how Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Moshe all had the concept of the air in their lives, and then they kind of stopped after that. The air. The concept of
sure.
It's interesting because after that it stops. Nobody else has the air. Nobody else.
Fascinating, right?
Interesting, right?
Yeah, very. So David HaMelech is the bechina of Afar.
Yeah.
So Yehuda, who's an aspect of David HaMelech, by him she says Hapam Oide es Hashem. Hoid again being the final Mekabel. It's the tokef of din. Interestingly enough, like Ba'omer, which the Sfarim speak about, is on the day of the sphere of Hoid, Sheba Hoid. It's the darkest din there is, and the Ar of Rashbi is able to be mamtik, is able to shine, is able to illuminate. Dafka, that point, that's a bit of a separate sugya. But Al Kopanim, about Hoid, which is an aspect of the Mekabel, the side of David HaMelech, the side of Yehuda, Leah can say Hapam. Now it's time for Haida'ah, because only a Mekabel is being Moida to Hashem for this, that she is or he is being Mekabel. So all the other Shvatim, the Bechina of Reuven, Shimon, Levi, is an aspect of Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and the fourth, of course, is Yehuda, David. But Avram, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, that's not a Bechina of Haida'ah, because it's not on the Madrega of true receptivity. It's just a channel. And there's just a review of what we did 2 weeks ago. When we get to the fourth, who's a Bechina of the regular Revi'i of the Merkava, an aspect of David, an aspect of Afar, so at that point, there's something that's actually Mekabel, and about that we can say Hoda'ah, and that's why it's connected to the of Hoid. Previously, we have been speaking very much about.
Apam is the same letters in A Od, A Ein Afar, Malchut.
Whoa! Unbelievable remez, gorgeous, beautiful. Hapam, unbelievable,
wow.
Beautiful. So now we come into the aspect of Chassin Kadosh. Just a quick review again, because we've been on this for a couple of weeks. Chassin, we said, is resilience. Chassin Kadosh. It's a special type of strength that reveals itself in a challenging situation. What's the most challenging situation we could refer to in the system of the Midas of Hashem? We already said is Hoid, right? Because again, Hoid is the mamish, the regel. It's in the physical structure. It's the left leg. It's the weakest, lowest part of the body. Mamish all the way down to the toes. Even beyond Yesoid, Malchus. It's the lowest. It's weak. Ragleha, the pasuk says, Yardos Maves. It descends down into the tashtit, into the framework, infrastructure of this worldliness, of Olam Hazeh, the Olam Hagashmi. And in order for something to survive in that kind of atmosphere, so it must be rooted where? In the highest place. In the highest place. Because the deepest, darkest pit needs to be illuminated not by a small little flashlight, torch on your phone or something. It needs a floodlight. It needs a stadium light. It needs the deepest light there is in order to penetrate mamish, in order to penetrate all the way down to the depth. And that's why Chassin, let's just try to, if we can, to get into the flow a little bit. That's why Chassin is rooted in Keser, like we said. It's mamish, the highest are the Ratzon of Hashem to be Mekayim the world, as we're going to learn tonight. We have a lot to get to, so I'm just trying to really push through tonight. It's a lot of reading, so it's just reading, translating. It's not so much new material, it's just really seeing how it filters down into our lives. The Ratzon of Hashem for a world where not everything would work out all the time, where people would encounter challenges, where Ra, that we're going to learn tonight, would be manifest in order to keep the world going one step after another, confusion, all kinds of Hester Panim. It's got to be rooted in a place of Keser. It's got to. We have to rely on the Rachamim Rabbim of Hashem that keeps the world going with a little bit of a sign of the Keshes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised. No matter how bad things get, it's all part of the process. So it's the same light that shows up in the lowest place, Haid, that is rooted really in the highest place, and that light is called Chassin, the light of resilience that is Kadosh. Kadosh is a reference to that which is muvdal. It's removed, right? Which is Keser, which is the most muvdal of all the other midas from our experience. Yeah, that's just a basic summary. Not bad. 7 minutes of the past three shiur, basically.
Chassin means strong, yeah?
Strong, but not just any kind of strong. We're translating it as resilience. Chassinut. Nachon. Oh, good. We have a Hebrew speaker, so we're gonna bump into some words here that I myself couldn't find. Translate. Google wasn't able to. So, okay, Chevra, let's jump in. The Siyata Deshmaya.
Take things against
vaccination.
That's right. To strengthen against a challenge. Nachon Ma'od. Nachon Ma'od. Okay, Chassin Kadosh. Let's jump back in. V'zeh Soid HaChassin. Again, this is from Reuven Sasson, Shlita, the Rosh Hashiva v'Yeshiva Ramat HaSharon. Big tzaddik. I'm zocheh to know personally. Goin, Nigla Nister, unbelievable. But he has a heart also that's just as big as the world. Reuven Sasson, Shlita, and our learning should be a schus for our Tinok, who's now in the NICU in Royal London. Tinok Ben Shir Yehudis, as Hashem, he should have Chassinus. He should get stronger and stronger each and every day. This is the special kind of resilience that's rooted in that muvdal, that special place of kodesh, of holiness. Like we said, we don't use this terminology of this kind of strength. It's not gevura stam, it's Chassinus. Ella in a merchav, in an atmosphere, in a place that where there's kashiyim mitzaros, where there's difficulties and challenges. Ella shehu chasin mipneihem. And this, like we mentioned earlier, is why the pasuk that says "V'haya emuna sitecha chaysen yeshus," etc., says the Gemara in Shabbos chaysen zaseder nashim. And we explained what's the shaychus between chaysen and seder nashim. We said that nashim is the bechina of hoid klape netzach. Netzach is strong. That's the bechina of Moshe Rabbeinu. Hoid is Aaron HaKohen. It's glowing. It's much more gentle. It's much more delicate. That's the aspect of the nashim. Nashim is not a place of Chassinus. On the contrary, nashim would seem to be the opposite. It's a certain chulsha. It's not the koyach of the gever. So we explained, again, I hinted to this, is that adarabba v'adarabba. It's dafka in a place of nashim, right? A dafka in a place where there isn't that level of total clarity, where everything is strong and clear and set up properly. Dafka there, where we look at an or that comes milamala and we say, well, that's Chassinus, because it's able to reveal itself daika here. Chaysen zaseder nashim. That's what we spoke last time. It's dafka, a godly light, and ar likus that comes down into the lower realms, sheyesh b'hem gvul, that are limited, v'tzimtzum, that are constricted. Ha'uvda. And this that we can tap into the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence in a place where it's seemingly impossible, the darkness to deal with. That's a siman. You're going to get through this. That Hashem is here too. And that this is also for a reason, Kalmada of Rachmana, Latav of it. Ki HaKodesh Chasin v'Kayam U'Ma'amidas HaKol. If you remember, we spoke 2 shiurim ago about the way that the Kodesh, that aura of Yashrus, of morality, of that which is right, like we said, even if all the darkness in the world increases, or that every single person cannot figure out the distinction between the morality and the equivalence, lack of equivalence between what Israel is doing right now in Gaza and what Hamas did in the southern kibbutzim, even if every single other person in the world, and you were the only one left like Avram Avinu, Avram Ivri, that would do nothing to detract from the fact that emes is emes and sheker is sheker, irrespective of the way in which people are obfuscated and confused about this particular issue. That's the Chassinus of Kedusha. It's there. Ki HaKodesh Chasin v'Kayam u'Ma'amidas HaKol v'Shum Davar Eina Yachal V'Goya Bo. Nothing in the world could do anything to detract from that and to damage that. Al Kain therefore Kalat Saras v'Acholshus v'Akol Kula Me'ena Machlisha V'Chitzonius. It's only on the outside. On the outside it looks like things are crumbling. On the outside it looks like we're hopeless. Mamish now more than ever. On the outside it looks like the world is falling apart. Ach b'Pnimius Shaira Kedusha Atzuma Shi'i Efshar Lagat Ba. Hashem is there, Kedusha is there, Emes is there, light is there, meaning, purpose is there, and nothing can touch that which is hidden, but it's there, it's Kayam. Again, why is the world continuing? Because there's a Kedusha there, there's a reality there. Umimena Yakom Akol, and from that place everything will stand up properly, be Yibana Binyan Olam, and in eternal construction will be constructed.
We have to tap into this.
We absolutely must. That's what it means to have emunah. So we're saying Yibana Shalom, and this is the meaning of the line. Finally, after all these weeks of developing this concept, which is very deep, and that's why it takes time. But we're in this for the long run. Every week we're trying to do a little bit. We turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the bechina of this 5th stanza in Ana B'Koyach, and we say Chasin Kadosh. Ribono Shel Olam, Anu Poinim El Hashem K'misha Nimsa Imanu B'Tzaraseinu. We refer to the godliness that is here, not like we said Ana B'Koyach Gedulas Min Chatat Tzura. That godliness that's above, that's within, that needs to shatter all the vessels. Abstract. Right. This is Mamish Hashem. You're meeting me where I am, and you're saying Bechinas Hoid. This is the 5th stanza of Ana B'Koyach. Bechinas Nukva, like we said, Chasin, Chaisin Seder Nashim. Soid ha'oiros ha'shayacham l'mesias amugbeles. That's in this limited mitzumtzam reality. Elushu koyach aliki atzim v'gadol. But again, it's not the least a powerful art, it's the most powerful. It comes from the highest place. So if we can contact that in a time of tsar, in a time where it's Laila, so we're able to tap into this. It's this kedusha that it's got to be there, and nothing could impact it. Haraya, it's still here even within this crazy darkness. V'hu chasin, and that's what we refer to by saying it is resilient. Adir b'segev koichai ukdushasai, absolutely ferociously powerful in its koyach of kedusha, and we refer to the pasuk mi kamoicha, like we started with. That's what we said. Chassinus got to be referring to that godliness that's above and beyond, and that a whole cluster of psukim there, which we started this stanza with. Mi kamoicha chasin ka be'emunascha svivaisecha. The bechina of emunah ve'emunascha ba'leilos and svivaisecha, without getting into it now, is always a reference to the nukva, as the pasuk says. Unekeva tesoivev gaver, the pasuk says. It's a very, very deep side, so it's connected to the right. It's connected to the side of the isha, without getting to that whole thing now. Igulim and yosher, it's bechina of feminine, and so it's all in this pasuk. Micha meicha chasin ka. There's an aura of incredible kedusha that nothing else compares to. That's rooted in the highest places. We call that keser. And therefore, it's able to descend. Ve'emunascha b'leilos. Ve'emunascha, it's the same word. Ve'emunascha, and it's svivaisecha. It descends into the place of the nukva of nekeva to soiviv gaver. V'zeh inyan kadosh. Shanu maskirim yachanim chasin. And this is the aspect of the word kadosh that we refer to together with chasin.
It's not 2 kinuim. It's 1 kinuim. Kadosh chasin.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Exactly. Again, chasin. Right. Chasin is its revelation in the lower realms. And how Where does it get this koyach to be chasin? Because it's kadosh. So now we understand it's one kinoi. These two things go together. Chasin, kadosh.
Does it mean that the
Excellent.
darker the moment, the more hester the moment, the more difficult the moment, the more kedusha, the more chasin?
Exactly right.
So
Bidyuk.
if we say that kedusha is a realm of kesser, which is maybe in one place, so it's always from there, and kesser also needs to move up higher and higher.
Kesser is the highest.
Yeah.
No, Keser, again, everything,
Yeah, but
without
still,
getting into the
let's say
whole...
tomorrow is going to be even more hester, so the kesser from tomorrow is more higher, kedusha is
Must
more
be.
higher
It must be, but it's not the Keser. There are deeper and deeper madrigas,
Endless,
deeper
but
levels.
hopefully not endless.
Not endless, not
Hopefully
endless, but incredibly complex and vast,
Yeah.
to the point that there is nothing that we experience in our limited realm that isn't rooted somewhere. And the sum total of all of human experience at the very last moment of history will have been the full unfolding of everything that
because
exists in the
everything
spiritual
has
realm.
a potential to confuse one and not to see God.
That's right.
Everything. So therefore it has to be connected.
That's right. Chasin Kadosh. So v'zeh inyan Kadosh. Shana maskirim yachad em chasin lahayris al gedulasai v'rememusai she'ina sheyeches klal l'chulshas hametzias. It's just beyond, and it's immutable. It's there forever. Shehine Kadosh Perusha, like we already said, is nivdal. That's what Kadosh means. It means separate from, above, beyond, transcendent. Na'aleh u'moroimim, above and beyond mikol musagya elamazeh. V'kach. Dafka bahaskirenu as inyan chasin hamoira al muravusa im ametzias v'havaya, where we speak about a realm of challenge and we speak about a realm where there's the potential for Hashem's art to be nister. Ba'im anu l'roimim l'halis as kedulasi yisbarach mima'al kol erchei ha'olamais kadosh elyon adir nale. We have to make reference to the godliness which is above and beyond. Shekala olamais v'chala yitzurim betelim ukaloi chashuvim. That at the end of the day, whatever we're experiencing now, nothing touches Hashem's Kedusha, which is again synonymous with emes, which is synonymous with chesed. It's all there, no matter what we're facing, no matter what we're challenged by. It's there. Kadosh Elyon Adir Nale Shekala Olamais V'Chala Yitzurim B'Telim K'Lei Chashuvim Al Zayar Shleimus Ayr She'en L'Cheker B'Tachlis. Nothing stands up to that. Ve'en B'Shum Shayches L'Musage HaGvul V'Ameit Sarim Shala Olamais. It's not affected by this. It's not challenged by this. It's not threatened by this. It's there forever, and we can tap into that. Kach Chasin. So we already said that the Chasin part of Chasin Kadosh is a reference to the godliness that's here because we're experiencing Mitzias. That's called God, right? That's called Hashem is present. So that's Chasin. Wow, Hashem is here too. Hashem is still maintaining the world. Hashem is present. Chasin. Mishayech es oiri yisbarach el Mitzias seinu. Ach ba'ois. Begvura benekudas oigen. I wasn't sure what this word meant. Ogen.
Ogen, it's basically ogen. It's for the shape.
Shape.
Yeah, shape.
An anchor. An anchor.
Yeah, but it's symbol like something like very, very atziv. Very, you can
move it.
Yeah.
Okay. The nekudas oigen, right? The aspect of that. I never heard that word before. Ogen. What's the shorish of that? I'm just curious. What's the shorish of the word ogen?
It's not. It's
Like Og Melech HaBashan?
exactly.
Tie up Og Melech HaBashan, you drop him as an anchor for your boat.
Like to be chained.
Chained. Okay, got it. Benekudas oigen lahavaya kula. So it is the foundation. It's the anchor of the whole existence. That cannot be budged. Ki kadosh bekir ba'adir adirenu. Tzal liviroini yesheves tzion. Ki gadol bekir be'ech kadosh Yisrael. It's there. It'll always be there. We should celebrate and we should rejoice over this. That Gadol B'Kirbech Kadosh Yisrael. The Kadosh Yisrael, again, that's Muvdal Mikal, is Gadol B'Kirbech. It's
the heaviness that we feel in the
there.
Choshech. It's not the heaviness of the Choshech. It's the heaviness of what's contained within.
Perhaps.
It's that which is so anchored and rooted, which we feel so heavy when going through the Choshech, where in fact, if you open it up, you'll see.
Why
it's
was
like
so
you give
heavy?
someone a gift and like, oh, this is a heavy gift. It's not the wrapping. It's what's inside.
Gorgeous. What a mashal.
It must be it. That's why I'm sure that's
What
why
a
he uses
mashal.
the word ogan to
Wow.
clarify that.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Ki Gadol B'Kirbech Kedash Yisrael. Smecha v'gil or simcha v'gil ba'alanu. Where do we rejoice? B'yaseinu masigim. When we have this understanding, shekadosh b'kirbeinu. We have kedusha inside of us. Or mufla roim mala. He uses a reference to Rajbi because again, that's Haid Shabahid, and that's the I think right. Or mufla roim mala, like we sing in Spariyachai. Nimsa imanu betachti is eretz. It's here. We can access that. Umamadas hakol, and it's carrying everything. Chassinus hakol b'Chassinus hakodesh. It's protecting. It's guiding everything with this incredible holy resilience. Shaloi techala shaloi tifgala olam. That it won't become weak and it won't become blemished forever. Al kain anu painim. So again, we go back to the tefillah. We say, okay, Chasin Kodesh. Again, we're not davening to any midah, Chas v'shalom. We're davening to Hashem. But the midos enable us to understand different realms, different aspects of being able to approach the Echad Yachad Miyuchad. So what aspect are we referring to of Hashem's revelation when we daven with this stanza, Chasin Kadesh? We say, Chasin Kadesh, Hashem Yisbarach, Ata Kadesh, Ukdushascha hi amura olam. You are Kadesh and your Kedusha is the pillar of the world. Amud Yisrael, Yisoid Kiyam HaKol, Shala Yuchlu Shum Ravashim Sarah Lahachlish Ulifgoya B'Koyach HaKodesh. Nothing can shake this, nothing can change this. Ki Hashem Alekei Tzavakos, again bringing that pasuk, Micha Moicha Chasin Ka, Ve'emonas L'Svivay Secha, and the pasuk continues, Ata Moishel B'Geas Hayam, B'Svoy Galav, Ata Tishabchim. Ribbana Shalom, you are Moishel and the storminess, the waves of the sea. B'svay gala, with the storminess of its waves. Ata teshabchem, you make everything better. Ata teshabchem. See, he says, what is this Geas Hayam? What are these galas? What are these waves that are referred to here? A pasuk after referring to the Bechina of Chasin Ka. He says, Afilu Geas Hayam. Gale Hayam at Kifim B'yoser. Even the most threatening, challenging, difficult waves that are what? Says the pasuk in Yeshayahu, V'harasha'im kayam nigrash. It's a reference to the waves of wickedness that seek to overwhelm the boat, right? That has an anchor, but it seeks to overwhelm. Atam moishel behem. Ribbana Shalom, in the level of Chasin Kadesh, I'm not threatened by the waves that the tidal waves, the tsunami that's coming over my head. Ata moishel behem. Ata moishel behem. Ata machnia oisam. Ribbana Shalom, you are the end of the story. You outlive them. You are using them in a certain way to reveal your kindness to the world. V'afa, not only will you be machnia them, which is called in Chabad Chassidus Eskafia, to subjugate, but more than that, you are mahapech, ishapcha. You are transforming them. Ta'afoch osam l'toiv. You can turn all the evil into good. B'roim es kedushascha ha'meishelas bakol. Al kain, so we say, Ribbana Shalom, we cannot refer to any other midah of yours but Chasin Kadosh, in order to then say, B'roiv tuvcha, please nahel adasecha.
He's saying Anna.
Please
Anna.
guide you. Huh?
He's saying Anna.
Anna, please.
So he's saying that the Anna of Anna B'chayach goes on each one of the others?
Oh,
Or is
interesting. Can be.
Yeah.
Can be. Anna, Chasin Kadosh, B'roiv tuvcha. Now that we make reference to this Chassinus, to Kedusha, B'roiv tuvcha,
all the way.
Nahel adasecha. So he says, what's the reference here to adasecha? It's like a flock of sheep. Hine adasecha anu. Am Yisrael. Listen to how beautifully he writes here. Adasecha anu. Am Yisrael. Ribbana Shalom, our whole nation is your sheep. Tzoin marisecha. We are the sheep of your flock. Hine anu nimtzayim b'seicha olam hazeh. No truer words for our current situation. We're found within olam hazeh b'mekayim shel chul shav v'nemichus, surrounded by weakness, experiencing weakness and confusion. V'nemichus and lowliness. Malei machai v'mekashiyim. Each and every one of us, collectively, personally, we're overwhelmed by pain and by challenges. And evil winds are blowing in the world, and they threaten us and they confuse us. And we're comparable in this situation, let's sign, to like a little sheep, sha'alul l'sakanes, that's always living in a situation that's fraught with danger. Chalash kishu levadei. We're weak when we're alone. Uzkukim anu l'raya. And so that's why a sheep requires a shepherd to protect it. She'inalesanu, to guide it. She'yavilenu el mei menuchais, to bring us to mei menuchais, like David HaMelech sings in Tehillim, v'yadrichenu Yeshua, and to lead us to salvation. And sometimes the sheep can feel abandoned. Like the Navi Yeshayahu says, Ein menahela mikol banim yalada. There's no guide among it or for it from all the children that it births. Ve'ein machzik biyada mikol banim gedela. There's no one to hold her hand, and we can feel abandoned. So we're saying when we feel this way, in the bechina of hoid shebahoid shebahoid, the bechina of we have nothing to give, we're just in the aspect of mekablim, we're weak. The bechina of Chassinus, the seder nashim, we're in the raglel yardas mavis. When we experience that, beroiv tuvcha, we say chasin kadosh. We can find you here. Nahel adasecha. Tinahel isanu, please guide us. V'toivel isanu, and bring us to where we need to go. We can't do it alone. And he quotes another pasuk earlier in Yeshayahu. Hine Hashem elikim bechazak yavai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will come with this strength. Uzroyai maish lalai, and his arm will have sovereignty. Hine schari itai, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings reward with him. Upulasei lefanav, and his actions unfold before him. Kiroya edra yireh, like a shepherd of a flock, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will lead. Bizraya yikabetz tlayim, with his arm he gathers up the little sheep. Ubecheka yisay, carries them in his arms against his chest. Alois yinahel, and he guides them. And so this is a pasuk that specifically refers to Hashem leading us in this way like a shepherd to a sheep.
It's funny that he uses the pasuk Israel uses a Moshe Lalai, and then again Israel Yikabetz Tlayim, like in the Aziyashe, where it says Yimencha Hashem and then Yimencha
Hashem. Interesting. Maybe it's like a parallel.
Because Rashi there says that what the human mind can't comprehend the concept of the same hand acting in completely two different meanings, or seemingly. Yeah. Yeah.
So he says on Nubechinas Nukva. We're in the bechina of Nukva. Raya, Tzayin Marisecha, Ve'inani Yecholim B'ladecha, we're your flock. Tzayin Marisecha, and we cannot exist without you. Yesh lanu chulshos, we're weak, we're suffering, we're in pain. Kashimu Bayis Rabbos, a lot of problems in this world. If you haven't noticed, it's a mess. This world seems, at least B'chitzayin, like a total mess at this point. It's like, forget it. But v'rak ata chasin kadosh, don't forget, the world carries on. Because there's an aspect of keser, that's the will of Hashem for every tiny little thing that unfolds in our personal and collective and universal lives. And that's accessible in the aspect of Chassinus, if we're aware of it. So chasin ka, she'ein shum chulsha v'kilkul noigim b'kedusha secha, hine rak ata ta'amidenu, ata t'na'alenu, ata toishienu. And that's the meaning of this stanza. When we say chasin kadosh, memela, what do we follow that up with? Once we're making reference to this element of transcendent kedusha that reveals itself dafka within this difficulty, so we say we're your sheep and we're suffering and we need you to guide us in this place. Okay, so that's our understanding of.
Is that the idea of Yehuda as in the actual darkness, in the darkest place of darkness? That's where that's where the most powerful to call out. Is that the concept where you said earlier? What's it called? You summarized what we said. Of
Yehuda, of David HaMelech?
Yeah, the concept of in hiding itself, in the darkest place. Mimamakim, mamash.
Bidiyuk. That's the whole energy of Malchus Beis David, all the way throughout. I spoke about this also recently somewhere else. The whole inyan of Malchus Beis David that shows up throughout history, step by step, in situations of darkness, starting with Light and his daughters. David Avdi Chazal say, where did he find the Besidaim? By Light. I mean, what's going on over there? Light, and Light and his daughter, a strange, bizarre thing. It's something that seems to be the hepech of Kedusha. From that place comes down to Yehuda and Tamar, also not the simplest union, down through Boaz and Ruth, also not Pashit, David and Bathsheba, the Chule, all the way down. Point after point after point, to the point that Chazal say that only David HaMelech was zeicha that the kingship would be ma'amid from him and not from Shaul, because Shaul was too light. Whatever this means, Shaul he was a tzaddik and he didn't have this dark past, so to speak. It wasn't dark enough. Bli nisyonot, and beyond nisyonot, bli yuridot, gam. He didn't know what it meant, to experience that level of darkness. To the point that Chazal used this terminology, mamash, we even use it in modern parlance, skeletons in the closet. The way that Chazal say it is that David HaMelech had a kupa shel shratzim fluim ba me'achayrav. He had to his Gemara. Kupa shel shratzim. David HaMelech mamish. The reason that he was able to make it and why Mashiach comes from David is dafka, not despite dafka, because he has this what's called a box of lowly, creepy, crawly shratzim. Tluya me'achayrav. So you have to look in the Mefarshim there because it's interpretable in a more simple way that it kept him humble. That's what Rashi says. I believe it's a Gemara in Shabbos. Yes, on his Madrega, it kept him humble, and the whole Sefer Tehillim is a book of humility, and that is also a Maila. But one second, but based on what we're saying about Chassinus, in Dafka, the place of weakness, if Mashiach is going to come for a Darsha Kulei Chayiv, at least that's one of the options, it has to be an R that's such a big R that it's able to shine down. We even refer to our generations before Mashiach's coming as Ikvasa de Mashiach, B'chin of Yaakov Avinu is the Ekev. It reaches all the way to the Ekev. Yaakov Avinu battles with the Sarah Shel Esav Ad Alais HaShachar, all the way through the darkness of night until the morning comes. Well, if the morning is going to come at the pinnacle of the darkness, it has to be the R of. It has to be this R of Hapam Oides Hashem. Really total humility, and that is the R of Shel Mashiach. That is the R of David. It's got to come from that place. Yeah.
So the point that the Maut of Kadosh, it's mean Chassinus, it's mean the Kadosh, you can't touch them. That's the meaning of Kadosh. Like Gemara said, Gemara Sanhedrin, Gemara tried to one of the body of Tzaddikim. Not going to destroy after 6,000 שנה. Gemara said, "Ma kadosh לעולם קיים, אף הם לא קיימים." It's mean the same. Kadosh, it's mean you can't touch them. It's very stable.
Beyond, very stable,
said,
beautiful.
It's because it's the maut of the kedusha. It's not only nivdal, but you can't say
it's forever. It's just there. It's Hashem Elokeichem Emes. And emes, in a certain way, it's translated as truth. And there are many, many, many sources. I'm not going to go through many sources that connect truth to that which is eternal. Svat emet tikon la'ad. V'nasan lanu teras emes v'chaye oilam nata b'seichenu. Many, many, many different things. Emes mi eretz titzmach. Emes eretz emedes la'oilam karka la'oilam emedes. Oh, there are many, many different things.
Eno met, maybe.
Eno met. Aleph met. Eno met. Yes, all the way right. Aleph mem taf, and it goes all the way.
Aim to met. All
the way to the end. That's the bechina that we're speaking about. Okay, let's jump back into the next segment. We're going to try to move through this a little bit more quickly. It's delicious. It's the most beautiful Torah in the world. To learn up on a bekayach. It's like I'm telling you, just this one paragraph. If we taught this properly, boom, done. Reb Nechunim ben Akana. Yeah, whose whole aspect, remember we learned in the beginning, was the bechina of Gvura and the Shem Membeis. That was our initial shiur in this series. Okay, let's jump in. There's more to talk about here. There's a deeper madrega. Right, we've seen yeah, we found that this concept of chasin, which is resilience, shows up in the kedusha that's dafka found in Olam Hazeh b'makam sheish by roya, they kilkul in a place of evil and
kilkul, thing which is hard,
uncorruptible. Yeah. Which we already learned is the aspect of keser that's beyond anything. And the godliness that's found, Hashem's holiness that's found dafka within the physical world. Right? That's what gives us the strength and the faith to be able to get out of it. It's me and Hashem. Right? It's such a beautiful thing. Right? I would say we say Hashem, you're coming out with me. Right. Nakuf. From that place, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we go out together. But over here we have a question, which is like the question. Pretty strong question that every theologian, going back to Moshe Rabbeinu, has been asking. What is this? Why don't you just get rid of it? Get rid of it. It's pretty annoying. Yeah.
Why you created it in the first place?
Why did you create it, and why are you keeping it? Yesod Inyan Hu, so he says it's like this. This is very deep. The great strength of Hashem is not simply to be mevatel around, to get rid of it from the world. Ella lahoifche lekoyach poyel l'toiva gedayla. We cannot get rid of it because it is going to be part and parcel of the giloy of goodness. So getting rid of it would just be cutting half of the mitzias of toiv away, because it's ultimately a mitzias of toiv. It's just not there
Even though it
yet.
has.
That's the whole thing of the Ramchal, really, which is the shirish of all Chassidus, which is really drawn from the Ariya Kadosh and the Zayar, which is all the same thing. Is that in the end everything gets transformed? We mentioned before, is hapcha, right? To turn it around. Shihine be'emes mitzad mitzias hashlema va'amatu kenes. From the side of the mitzias that's completed and rectified, in kavanas habayir baruch hu la'abedis kol ha'koiches ha'pay alam ra. Hashem doesn't want, and we find many psukim to this effect. In the Gemara Brachas, it's very famous with Buria, right? So she was davening, not that yitamu chata'im min ha'olam, not yitamu chayt'im min ha'olam. It doesn't say HaKadosh Baruch Hu that David HaMelech wants that all sinners should be destroyed from the world. No, we daven that all sin should be removed from the world.
It's not personal.
No, it's say
Okay, why you're Rishayim? Because now...
deliberate was
No, not even. You could say even deeper than that. You could say that once Yitamu, they become tzaddikim. So it doesn't mean that they're not there. Ibn Achman makes this drasha explicitly, and the Gemara says, Rishayim, they will they will no longer be Rishayim. That's right.
The difference between people who are negligent and people who are deliberate.
Again, that's al pi pshat, but al pi remez and deeper al pi soid. Once Mamish, the Gemara says, once Yitamu chatayim, once the sins are away, memela, they're not Rishayim anymore.
Doesn't mean that no longer Rishayim.
Bidiyuk, oid einam.
If it means to destroy it, be a Rishayim einam. It's oid. It's like it's not.
Rabbi Nachman also has that famous drasha about a zamra. Rabbi Nachman says, oid ma'at ve'ein rashes ve'is benantal mekayim ve'einanu. Right? Ve'einanu. Right? Oid ma'at, David HaMelech says, hang on a little bit longer. Oid ma'at ve'ein rasha, and there will be no wickedness anymore. Rasha, Vizbainantal Makoima, you'll look at that place where the Rasha was, Ve'inanu, and it will not be there anymore. So Rabbi Nachman's famous Rasha, perhaps the most famous, in Torah 282, in Azamra, is Va'oid Ma'at Ve'in Rasha, find that little bit, Oid Ma'at, just that little bit within the person, Ve'in Rasha, find that point within where he's not a Rasha. And then through doing that and finding the good, you can build him up. And you'll look for that person. He's not the same person anymore. You changed him because you found that point within him that's deeper. Okay, but let's try if we can really to stay focused in this and let Rav Reuven Sasson teach us over here. Right? That's the ultimate nakuda. That's the ultimate nakuda. So that's what Hashem wants. Right? Another pasuk, for example, the pasuk says, "Ki lo yachbos b'mais hameis." You don't want that the mace, which the Gemara says is Russia, afilu b'chaim kri mesim, should die. Ki im b'shuvay midarkai v'chaya. You want him to just do tshuva. That's it. Ki be'emes tachlis kol ha'koycha sheba'olam hi lehishapech l'koyach pa'el l'toiv u'bracha. That's what the whole purpose of every particle of physicality of Metzias is. To turn into a channel for goodness and blessing. The tachlis hakol, hi l'chavein ala matara ha'atzuma shel ha'olam, is the tachlis of literally everything and every person, irrespective of what nationality and what background and where he lives. Every human, certainly, but every animal and every plant and every rock and everything. The purpose is lehis alois bi'ilu mufla ma'oid le'elo le'elis, to rise. Once we understand this, good. So we now can divide everything in the world into two categories. Those forces in the world that are already aligned with this ultimate tachlis and doing whatever is in their power to serve as a kli, a vehicle, a vessel to bring the world closer to the tachlis. And the contrast of that is klal koiches harasha ba'olam, all forces of wickedness, of evil, she'ena mechuvanim ba'ofen galui el tachlis, that are not in a revealed state yet activated to really serve as the tachlis, and begarmim el haris v'kilkal, and are causing all kinds of destruction. V'inei tachlis hakol, so what's the ultimate tachlis? Hu lechavein el hatikun hasholem, is for every human being, it starts with us, and starts with the Yidden, to turn ourselves around to face the right direction. Vel iluya oilam, and to bring the world to its state of elevation. Kach sha'kol yemalik kavod Hashem, that everything should just be filled with a realization, and it's an open. I'm telling you, we're sitting there in the neonatal unit over there in the NICU. It's a pella. I mean, you have to literally be a fool to not see that everything is a miracle. You see this little tiny baby, and why did the lips become the lips and not the ears? And why are things developing in the way that they develop? You have to be mamish, beyond the fool, to not see it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mamish present in the tselem elokim of the human, and of just our human functionality, the way things are. The most complex object, if we're going to use that word to describe a thing that's in this world, in the world, is the human being, the complexity of every particle of our, and it just happens. It just all the doctors and the nurses, they're not making it happen. They're helping it to develop, but it is happening on its own. And if it's not happening on its own, it ain't happening. With all the medicine and all the the vaccines and everything else that they could give it, zelo. It's not going to happen. It's not right. Okay. It's not happening on its own. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is making things unfold. When all human beings can recognize this, then the whole world will be filled with K'vayid Hashem, which is the presence of Hashem. B'simchas Hashem b'masav, with the joy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on his Maisim Ka'imr, like we say in Tilim, and we say in davening, Yehi K'vayid Hashem la'olam. When the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is finally revealed eternally, so then finally Yismach Hashem b'masav. Hashem looks at everything He created and He says, now you've fulfilled your purpose. So then every aspect of Masav, which is Klalius of Hashem's creations, Hashem is happy with it. The Gemara in Chulin, Daf Samach Amud Aleph says that this pasuk is sung by what's called the Sarah Shel Olam, which usually is a reference to Matat. It's a certain malach called the Sarapanim. They're getting to what that is now, the 6 days of the week, very deep. The whole collective unit of Metzius sings this song. What does that mean? He says Reuben Sasson, Hainu, what this means, if you look deeper in that Gemara, because you could just learn this. Okay, this pasuk is sung by the Sarah Shel Olam. Beautiful. Next line of the Gemara. Oh, what does this mean? Hainu sheklolus havaya moifia es k'vayid Hashem. That means that if the Sarah, not just of any nation, but of the whole Havaya is singing this, it must be that this is the purpose of every particle within the Olam, of which the Sar is singing. Yehi K'vayid Hashem la'olam. Mofias K'vayid Hashem u'mevil l'tachlis shel simchas Hashem b'masav kulam afilu b'tachtias ha'asiyah. Let's go a little bit weiter. V'hine naschel yisoid gadol b'dvar sibas kiyumim shel koiches rabba olam. Okay, so now we understand that it's not so simple. HaKadosh Baruch Hu just wanted you just click delete and all the negative forces will be gone from the world, because we don't want them to be gone from the world. We want them to contribute in a way that none of the other forces could contribute. It's unique. We want them to contribute to the creation of the world. It's just they're not activated yet. Lemaisa. Within Ra, and again, this is difficult to understand. I mean, right now as a nation, we're witnessing literal Ra. Mamish Ra. I mean, raw Ra, right? Raw Ra, right? So he says, hard to understand this, but this is part of our emunah. Ganas, we have to believe this, that somewhere in there, is Taiv Gadol. Who kedivri chachamim b'midrash, this incredible midrash ala pasuk v'yar likim as kol asher asa. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took a look at everything that He created. V'hinei Taiv ma'ayid, a famous midrash brought by Rashi L'Shainim, says the midrash Rabbah. Rabbi Nachman bar Shmuel bar Nachman b'shem Rabbi Shmuel bar what?
Rabbi Nachman bar Shmuel.
Yeah, bar.
B'shem.
No, it must be a mis.
No, זה כתוב כפול.
Yeah, it's a mistake. Reb Nachman bar Shmuel b'shem Reb Shmuel bar Nachman. It shouldn't be. Amar says, Hine, toiv ma'oid. What does this mean that Hashem looked at everything He created and He announced, it's very good?
Might be correct.
Toiv.
In the name of his father.
What's that?
Might be correct. Reb Nachman is saying in the name of his father.
Reb Nachman bar Shmuel bar Nachman. B'shem Reb Shmuel bar Nachman. Oh, yeah, could be Nachman bar Shmuel bar Nachman, who is is saying in the name of his father. Can be, yeah. Hine toiv ma'oid say Chazal ze yetzer toiv. That's a reference to the yetzer toiv. V'hine toiv ma'oid. Right, it should be really hine toiv is the yetzer toiv. Hine toiv ma'oid ze yetzer hara. Says the Medrash of yetzer hara toiv ma'oid esma. I mean, what a shocking thing to say for Chazal to say this is the Yetzer Hara is better than the Yetzer Toiv Ma'oid. Says the Medrash. Well, listen. If there was no Yetzer Hara, if there was no, we can translate this as the sense of the ego, distance from Hashem, being an actual person who exists in this world, which is the shirish of all Ra. A person would never do a thing. A person wouldn't build a house, wouldn't say isha, wouldn't hoilid, wouldn't nasa v'nasa.
So nobody get married because of that. So
That's it. Bitly, it's right, and they brought it back. Well, and a person would never do business. After describing all these things that people do, it's rooted in a place of ego where I exist. I have my own independent life. Somebody else does, and that compels me to go ahead and to do things. Yeah.
What does it mean? Ine. Ine it means something that you not think like that. Ine, it's like surprise. Ine. Many cases.
Right. So you're saying this is a surprising thing.
Yeah, it's surprising. After it seems like a ra, but it wins. It's turned to be a tov. It's ine.
It will surprise us. Beautiful. Hine toiv ma'od yetzahara will be hine. Beautiful. Nim says lamed. So let's.
Oh,
yeah.
Huh? What did you say? Surprising.
Where's the Yitzhak?
No, because it surprised you. Because it's raw. It seems like
but the
ra.
Yitzhak is also the better.
No.
No, it has.
But Torah says, is it Hine?
Huh?
Hine,
Yeah. Vayar's kol asher asa v'hine toiv ma'od. Right. So you're saying that toiv itself, no, is not so surprising, but the fact that hine toiv ma'od, right, is that the toiv is also
That's really
in the
saying-
Yitzhak. That's a shocking
No,
thing.
we're saying that hine is also used for the Yitzhak as well.
Fine,
Yeah,
but it's an introduction to these two things. No, let's not get caught up on this remez. Nimtzeis lamed sha'at toivu be'emes yisoda kol. At the foundation of everything is toiv. V'chol koiches hara, and anything that's not toiv in the world einay ela toiv ganos. It's just, and this really comes from the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov says that ra is only the lowest level of toiv. It's all toiv. It's just, this is the lowest darga of it, and so he can't see it. Sha'oid la huchshar, because it's not rectified yet. Lotzei salapoyal. Kach sheganas behem or gadol. There's a great light there. A great light. Chassin Kadosh is there. It's not directed properly. Now listen to this, because this is very, very important. V'hine lamaisa. Ikar tikkun hara tale b'hachvanas hakoiches shebiyitzira. Listen to this very carefully. The primary tikkun for everything that's being used to create ra in the world, where ra becomes magnified as a result of the way that people are using their creative capacities of thinking, of speaking, of acting of any kind, is taloi. In order to be fixing this, in order to rectify this, we have to redirect those creative energies. Lahayrislem, to teach them as hadarach hanachayna, how to be a human being in a positive sense. To allow all of their capacities to reveal themselves in a way that's balanced, and not in a way that's destructive, but in a way that comes together with every other human experience to create Olam Haba and Olam Hazeh. Ikr Metzias Hara Hi Mikoyach He'eder Or. The Metzias of Ra, like the Metzias of Tuma, is there as an absence of spirit, an absence of light. She'yinache v'yinasev, that will guide, that will direct, as HaKoiches b'derech toiv, in a good way. B'devarim elu anu mavakshim loymar, what we mean to say over here, and this is so important, so crucial for educating our children. Shekechol sha'kedusha tishtachlel, the more that kedusha becomes built up. Ukechol sha'arat Torah yefia b'shleimus kaimasa b'tzur rechava hami'iras ha'olam kulai v'eskal ha'koiches hatmunim boy, the more that the light of the Torah is going to become revealed within this world, slowly but surely, to light up all the koiches in this world. As I call ha'koiches ba'olam, every creative force in this world, Yimtzu es mekayimam b'kodesh, it will find a way to service this kedusha, v'yishapchu l'polatayva, and it will be able to be used for kedusha. And this is such a deep side that the Ariyah Kaddish reveals, that the primary rectification of evil, without getting into this whole thing now, the broken, shattered vessels, which is the shirish of Ra in this world, the Ariyah Kaddish reveals, based on Azar Kaddish, Chachma Yasad Barta, without getting into that now, it's the side of Chachma, which is unity. Remember, we already learned in the previous stanza, we learned that Chachma is connected to seeing, and seeing is connected to the unification of everything, and that's why we said, what was the lashon? What was the third one? Nagibar Darshe Yechudcha, the aspect of the Achdus of everything, the rectification of broken vessels, broken pieces, to bring it back together. We said, Kivav Shamrim, guard them like an eye, because what's the eye is connected to the site of Chachma. That was what we learned previously. So, because it's connected to the site of Darshe Yechudcha, because connected to Chachma. Chachma is the whole picture, big picture. So it's all in the site of Chachma. Site Machshava, Shabam is bar hakol. All we need in this world to fix is just a little bit of mature thinking, is a little bit of understanding what this thing needs to be used for. And when we do that, we can clarify, oh, there's toiv here. Let's figure out how to use this experience for toiv. That's what Arizal means when he says that. How do you fix the broken vessels? Chachma. You just need to bring the R of the Torah into this experience. And it will no longer be used for purposes that are contrary to the will of Hashem. So we need the Torah for everything. The Torah is guiding everything. So it's Ar HaTikun. It's the Ar of putting things in order, of Mishpat, that's connected to the Torah. Habalavarer es hakelim hashvurim, to clarify all the little pieces of the broken vessels and to select them and to bring them back together into unified kelim for the Ar of Hashem. Haid Shabahid. The Ikrai Ayidei HaChachma Kanaida. It's got to be from the Torah. In this sense, the Torah is to humans what the human being is to his horse. What sense? The horse is tremendously powerful. But what it's missing is it doesn't know how to utilize its strength for a productive purpose. When the person comes to ride the horse, when he sees, which metaphorically means when he understands, so he can guide the axe, right? And he can harness, that's the word, he can harness the force of the animal. Raya, it can lead it, and it can bring everything together so that things can serve productively. Sheif'alu, that it can use its energy to bring about a tremendous te'eles, to build a better world. That it should be impacted positively. See, he says that's what the Torah is to us. The light of the Torah isn't there. Which is guiding us. Skip the parentheses, just a Kabbalistic Indian, not for now. What we mean to say. And here he gets to the real point. If we're only giving our children a constricted Torah, a Torah that seeks to constrict our engagement with Olam Hazeh, and we're giving over a message to ourselves and to our children and to our communities and to Balei Tshuva particularly. The whole point of the Torah is to cause a person to be pirish from Olam Hazeh, that there's no value to creating things, to working, to impacting the physical, practical world. And we say that the whole point of the Torah is to take you and remove you from that. What about all these incredibly talented people that have different spirit, different capacities, different abilities? We say, no, you can only be a successful Jew if you sit and learn for 40 years in Kollel. I mean, this is antithetical to the spirit of Yiddishkeit. Right? It's mamash antithetical. Why? Because Hashem gave a person talents for a reason. Hashem wants the world to become filled with His Spirit, revealed through that person.
It's meaning there is a Derech, and the Torah explaining how to use Derech. That's the meaning Derech.
Exactly. So he says, what's going to happen? People that are talented, people that they have in their neshama something else, what are they going to feel? Yargishu mechanek gadol. They're going to feel choked. They're mamish going to feel choked. Because the powers of creation that Hashem planted in them, what's going to happen to them? They're going to want to come to expression. They're going to think, well, they can't find a way of channeling that for the Torah. And so if I want to be an artist, or if I want to do music, or if I feel that I want to utilize my capacities anywhere outside that doesn't seem to fit at the first Seder, second Seder, what am I going to think? There's no place for me in Yiddishkeit. And it's the opposite of the truth. It's the hepech of the truth. The whole purpose of first and second Seder is to teach me that the Torah encompasses the whole of the human being. the whole of the human being. So we have to know how to put things into perspective. But the human is supposed to become a bastion of Ar. It's supposed to be a vessel that's mole with every aspect of us that Hashem implanted within us, Toiv and Ar. Nimsa sheyesh koyach. He says there's a strength, nitzat shal chayim, a spark of life. She'ena moitzias atzme b'sefisas olam shal haTorah k'biyachol. Chas v'shalom. There's a part of the human experience that the Torah doesn't encompass. Chas v'shalom. And this causes many issues, many problems.
Again, can you,
Racist, yeah.
Sorry, if to clarify again, why does a person feel choked if he doesn't use his talent for singing to reveal God in the world, right? That's his point. So again, why is he choked by learning Torah then?
No, Chas v'shalom, not choked by learning. No.
Because
not choked by learning Torah.
Torah.
Not choked by learning Torah. But a person was created with a certain capacity for creativity in one way or another. And if the hashkafas haTorah is that the Torah does not include our revealing the kavod, the presence of Hashem
go to this place.
in our place, so then he's going to feel a tension, a crisis, because his neshama was put in the world dafka to reveal Hashem in the way that his neshama needs in order to contribute properly. So if he doesn't realize that I can find a way to channel this for kedusha. No, so he says not. He says right. This is going to happen one way or another. This is what he's. Let's let him finish the paragraph.
The great rapper.
I use this lashon all the time. I use this all the time as a lashon.
The whole time that he can't rap. He's from a Yid and everything. Rapping is completely anti-kedusha, and he pushed it down. But it was always there, and he was frustrated until. He was
rapping
all
at
of a
the
sudden
door.
he was taught, and through his music, he was able to reach such a large amount, and to reveal godliness that no Rosh Hashiva and everything could have brought it, and he brought it.
Take a look at Sunday. We're talking about the largest rally, Nissan Black. The largest rally. You never heard of Nissan Black? Oh boy, we have to send you some.
Where are you living, man? Under a rock.
I don't listen to that music.
No. Nissan Black is if you'd see a picture of him, you definitely know who he is.
You probably heard.
I'll send you some links. Okay, we'll still. Yeah, but all you need to do is to look at Sunday, the largest gathering of Jews in America in history, right? 300,000 Jews, and who's the one leading Tehillim for all these people? It wasn't a Rav, and it wasn't a Rosh Hashiva of any kind. It was Yishai Ribo. It was a person that daika through utilizing his talents. You understand the Kiddush Shem Shemayim that came down through this person. That I can't think of another person, a tzaddik of all tzaddikim, that was Zaycha, that such Kiddush Shem Shemayim should come through him. It was a person that Mamish said, I have talents, and I used them in alignment with Kedusha, with broad-mindedness. I didn't suppress myself.
Sure.
It's an amazing thing, the way that he led Tehillim. If you watch that, unbelievable. And who is he? He's a Pashat Yid. That's the R of Mashiach. Pashat Yidin. That's the R. Pashat Yidin. Prostics. Mamish. That's it. So let's finish up how he says this. So he says, what are the issues? Rashis koiches elu yinusvu beloy hadragas shel Torah. It's going to happen regardless. If we cannot find a way to help our children reveal their creativity within the realm of the Torah, it's going to happen outside the realm of the Torah. Shenis koiches elu yiskaimamu neged haTorah. On the contrary, they're going to end up being used not just for a positive purpose. It's going to be the negative purpose. Shekain chashim, because they're going to be so angry at the Torah because they feel hein shat Torah ma'ayemes al etzem kiyumam, that this is the Haredi world, and the Torah world doesn't allow me to do this. So if I'm doing it, it comes out in a way of rebellion, and I end up using it in a way to knock back chas v'shalom at the world of kedusha. Legitimatzia. It doesn't give him any legitimacy. Al kain b'soifish al davar. What's going to happen? Yiskaimu ma'anashim elu neged Torah. We're turning the most creative, talented, capable souls within our communities, we're turning them off daika because of their capacity to bring kedusha into the world. Hashem yishmar aleinu. And then we open these small little yeshivas for the shvach bachrim, the weak bachrim, and what can you do? And they're second-class citizens. No, let them do woodworking, and it's like a pella. It's like these are the best we've got. And Hashem needs 12 Shvatim. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs Shimon and Levi. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs Yisachar and Zevulun. And like, hello, this is what the Torah is supposed to be. When the Torah is presented in a way that's mitzum sam, and people don't think in a way of K'vayid Hashem, and people don't think of it in a way of Olam Hazeh, forget about Olam Haba, just what this world is supposed to be, through the Torah, Chas v'shalom, we end up with a crisis. Not much a crisis. Kedei lases drar l'koiches hayitzir shavem, in order to give a sense of freedom for their creative energies. Because their perception of Torah is that Torah will not allow me to be myself. So then what happens? It happens in a rebellion against that. Look what we lost. All of this is because of their mistaken perception. And it's not their mistaken perception, it's the perception that they picked up in our schools and in our communities, Sheseveris, where they think Shahat-Torah misnagedes lepituach. The Torah is against openness. The Torah is against creativity. That's a big mistake.
Ironic.
Big mistake.
It's the irony of HaKadosh Baruch Hu using the Torah to create the tzimtzum, but it doesn't mean that you have to use the Torah to create the tzimtzum.
On the contrary, the Torah was created. This world was created using the Torah so that we can look past the tzimtzum aspect
bring
of it,
out the
and
light.
draw the light.
Tzimtzum was only there to be able to create.
Yes, right. There's no greater tzimtzum than Yitzira. Right? Yitzira is mamash a tzimtzum because you have to be mechab in your koiches. But there's a tzimtzum that's a complete block, and that's not what we're at. And we're after. Let's just do last paragraph. I know we did a lot tonight. Tvisa zu hevi aisanu lemechanek ula tasisa shal mardanus. It brings to choking and mardanut, which is rebellion.
What's tasisa? What does that mean?
It's like
Murder.
when you open a Coca-Cola, there's a tzitza.
Like explosion?
Like, yeah.
Oh.
Explosion is like more
Revelation.
More, it's like wave something. Yeah. Tzitza.
Right.
Tzitza,
Right.
Something happened.
Tzitza.
Okay, what's a
depression?
It's like
an eruption? Okay.
To go out, like tzitza.
And a revelation, manifestation. Let's say manifestation of rebellion. Hashem created people with capacities, abilities. And Asiya is done within this world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu implanted strong impulses within the human soul. They're going to come out one way or another. So they're not going to die up. They're going to come out. Now the human being was created through the hadrach of the Torah, which is tikkun, to teach the person how to reveal their koiches in the world in a way that's going to magnify the kavod of Hashem. Can be, yeah. In a sense, because that's the tachlis, not being a good yid and not getting olam haba. It's not about me. It's about Hashem. It's about Hashem.
Saying, it's for God.
Emuna, consciousness, not just saying it's for God, but utilizing music in a way that we can bring people closer to Hashem. Art, literature, to use all these abilities to bring the light of Hashem into the world, and not in a way of b'diavad, in mamish a way that's lechatchila heres hashar Hashem ba'olam derech hasiyasei levikach chaysav. But if our understanding of the Torah is not whole, is not all-encompassing, but it's limited, and it seems that the Torah doesn't have space for this, and doesn't have the capacity to guide these creative energies, and if they come to negate and they come to erase the existence or the validity of these energies in the Yesod, these, at the end of the day, these incredible powers that are literally Maaseh Hashem, Yichushu Mechanek Gadol, they're going to feel choked, suppressed, and they're not going to be able to withhold themselves. Ubeshlav Misuyam, and it may be a couple of years down the line, whenever it comes.
Where's this energy coming from?
Where's what energy coming from?
That
creative energy.
That self energy, which is not to do because I
Hashem.
don't do it. So
Hashem. Sure. It's the will of the person to manifest their ability. And you can't repress it for
Torah,
that long. So he
Torah,
says it
that's
could be
guided. That's the
right,
Torah,
not to close it. Right, so mama's there to guide it. So he says it was shlav mesuyam. At some point, alula lehitpateach. What's going to happen is there's going to be a merida. It's going to be guided in a way chas v'shalom that's negative Torah v'tavi prikas all shani adala afsher lekoiches eilulatzi salapayal, because that's the only way that a person can finally pursue their dream is to go against the Torah, and that was never the case. It was just never the case. And so if a woman, for example, wants to sing, right, and because she has a gorgeous voice and she wants to, but we say no, we can absolutely not allow a woman to sing in front of seminary girls because who knows what's going to be, and nobody's going to want to be a mother anymore and cook Shabbos food, and who is terrible destruction of Klal Yisrael. What's going to happen? So all the women with beautiful voices are going to say, "There's no place for me in Yiddishkeit," but they're going to want to sing because they were born to sing. And where are they going to look? So they're going to say, "Well, there's no place for me in Torah." They're going to look for it elsewhere. Chas v'shalom. The Torah has the capacity to hold space for the creative energy of every single Yid in a way of kedusha. It has to be guided in a way of kedusha. In a way of kedusha. Let's just finish this up, and then we'll sing a little bit. It's already running late tonight. Right, so it's going to become Ela Shehim Yenusu B'derech Menu Tekes Umenu Keres Me'atayra V'mitach L'Serva Achiseh. It's going to come out in a way that's not aligned with the goals of the Torah. Kol Zayis, and the whole reason that this happened is Nigud Atzmi Ben HaKoiches Halal Ben HaTorah. There's no essential tension between these koiches and the Torah. It's just a mistaken understanding of what the purpose of the Torah is. It's not to restrict. It's not to make us become defensive. It's to empower us to go on the offense, to use every aspect of the human condition to conquer the world for God. That's the purpose. We never understood, what is the Torah? What's the purpose of it? What's the tachlis? We're thinking in a gullus way, or not yet leaning into the geula-oriented mentality. The Torah comes to illuminate, to help a person become aware of the kedusha, the Chassinus to kedusha in every aspect of this worldliness, and to come to the awareness that not only does the Torah not come to erase or to negate these koiches, it empowers them, it grows them, it makes them bigger. By connecting it to the ultimate tachlis that encompasses the whole entire world, which is ultimately ta'ir eretz michveidecha. Not that the whole shamayim should be illuminated with godliness, but dafka ta'ir eretz michveidecha. The earth should be.
The Torah talking about it's talking about the people outside. When they have eved, when you want to sing for some things, these are dinim. So what you learn in Torah about him,
right?
So you can't say it's like it's too
right. The whole Torah is about this world. The Baal Shem Tov was, people got very angry with him for many reasons, but one of the things that people got angry with the Baal Shem was the following thing that Rabbi Nachman echoes also in the Kutumran, that we learn dinim of hamachlif para b'chamar, right? There's a kinyan chalipin that we talk about different ways of being machlif, a guy in the field, and there are dinim about this. So the Baal Shem Tov says, if Hashem gets nachas ruach from a Jew sitting in a beis medrash learning about hamachlif para b'chamar, how much more nachas ruach does Hashem get from some farmer out there in the field actually doing hamachlif para b'chamar? And this is really relying on the Maimar Chazal that says gadol limud. Why is limud Torah so important, which it is? Shemevi lidei maisa, because the tachlis of the Torah is to turn us into people who can live within the olam hamaisa, that don't have to quickly, cover up that and run back into the beis medrash because I can't handle the world. Come on, the Torah is supposed to empower a person to be able to interact with the world in a way of ar and emunah. So ta'ir eretz michveidecha. The goal is that the earth should be filled with the ar of elikus. What's the Rosh Hashanah of ta'ir eretz michveidecha? Emet. What's emet? Hashem Elokeichem emes. Emes me eretz titzmach. Emes me eretz, from the earthliness daika, not despite it. The Haisazais, that's right.
It's meis is also.
Mm-hmm.
It's Torah's backwards.
Beautiful. Me'es ta'ir eretz michveidecha. Gorgeous. Me'atzimo u'megadela soisam bekach shemechaber soisam leklal hakoicha sheba'olam, because it connects to an overwhelming and overarching understanding of what the Torah is for. B'chabakak v'hemidan al achas v'tzadik be'emunasa yichya. It's all about emunah. It's all about becoming a person who lives with Hashem, not about a person who can read a lot of words on a lot of pages. To live with it. It's a different thing. And it crowns them with an eternal content, the erech eliki, with godly value, and to help to fill these capacities with an infinite spirit of purpose and meaning. And Chaver, that's we'll get more into this next week, B'ez Hashem, but that is what we're davening. Chasin Kadosh. This is the Chassinus to Kedusha, because again, why is there Ra in Hayit Shebahayit? It's there to be transformed into Kedusha. And the light of transforming Hayit into Kedusha, which is Chassinus, that it's here for a reason, is rooted in the highest of places, when we can be Megala Elikus, Dafka within the Toichius of Eretz. That's the resilience of Chasin Kadosh.
There's a power.